The Proud Knight. The kingdom of Durin was a prosperous place, ruled by a wise and just king. The people were happy and content. One day, a strange creature appeared in the kingdom. It had the head of a dragon and the body of a lion. The creature demanded that the king build a tower for it to live in. The king agreed, and the tower was built. The creature was not satisfied, however. It demanded that the king's daughter be given to it as a servant. The king refused, and the creature attacked the kingdom. It destroyed the fields and the crops. The people were starving. The king had no choice but to give the creature his daughter. The creature took her to its tower and locked her in a room. The poor girl was terribly afraid. One day, a proud knight came to the kingdom. He had heard of the creature's attacks and wanted to help. The king agreed, and the knight set off to fight the creature. Along the way, he encountered an old witch. The witch told the knight that he would need 3 things to defeat the creature: a magical sword, a shield of fire, and a golden apple. She gave the knight a magical sword and a shield of fire, but told him he would need to find the golden apple. She also requested that he return to her after the creature was defeated to perform a quest as payment for her assistance. The knight thanked the witch and promised he would return, then continued on his way. He was grateful for the weapon and the shield, but didn't think the golden apple was necessary to defeat the creature. As the knight approached the creature's tower, he could see the princess in the window. She was crying. The knight called out to her, telling her not to be afraid. He said he would save her. The creature came out of the tower and attacked the knight. The knight fought back, using the magical sword and the shield of fire, but the creature was too strong, and the knight was barely able to escape with his life. The creature laughed as the knight ran away. The knight was heartbroken and humiliated. He had failed to save the princess. He felt like he had let the king and the whole kingdom down. He feared his reputation would suffer terribly from his failure. The knight returned to the king and told him what had happened. The king was angry and asked the knight why he had failed. The knight explained about the witch and the 3 things he needed to defeat the creature. The king demanded to know why the knight had not first retrieved the golden apple, but the knight was speechless. Because of the knight's failure, the creature demanded that the king give it half of the kingdom's gold. The king refused, and the creature attacked the kingdom again. It destroyed more of the crops and left even more people starving. The king had no choice but to give the creature the gold. The creature took the gold and locked it in the room where the princess was held captive. With his tail between his legs, the knight returned to the witch and inquired about the golden apple. The witch told the knight that the apple was in the hands of a giant. The giant lived in a cave at the top of the mountain. The knight thanked the witch and set off to find the giant. He climbed the mountain, found the giant's cave, and demanded the giant give him the golden apple. The giant refused, and the knight attacked him. He fought valiantly, but the giant was too strong. The knight was barely able to escape with his life. He was heartbroken. He had failed again, and he didn't know what to do. He went back to the witch and told her what had happened. The witch told the knight that he was too proud. He needed to go back to the giant's cave and trick the giant into giving him the golden apple rather than relying on his strength and skill with weapons. He thanked the witch and set off to find the giant. When he arrived at the giant's cave, he removed his armor and hid it in the woods nearby. He then laid outside the cave entrance and pretended to be hurt, begging the giant for help. The giant did not recognize the knight since he was not wearing his armor. Being a kindly giant by nature, he agreed to help and picked up the knight. The knight pretended to faint. The giant laid him down on his large bed in the cave and went off to make him some food. The golden apple was on the nightstand next to the bed. Once the giant was out of sight, the knight grabbed the golden apple and ran away. He returned to the old witch, humbled by the ordeals of this quest. He asked her what he should do with the golden apple to defeat the creature. The witch told the knight that he needed to give the golden apple to the creature in exchange for the princess. He asked why he needed the magical sword and the shield of fire if the creature would exchange the apple for the princess. The witch only told him that he would know what to do when the moment came. He thanked the witch and set off for the creature's tower. The princess saw the knight approaching from the tower window and trying to warn him to stay away. He called up to her, telling her not to be afraid. He said he would save her. The creature came out of the tower and saw the golden apple. He demanded the knight give it the apple. The knight handed over the apple, and the creature repeatedly tossed it up in the air and caught it, mesmerized by the way the sun glinted off it. While continuing to admire the apple, the creature demanded that the knight surrender his weapon. The knight placed his sword on the ground between himself and the creature. The creature stepped closer to the knight, its eyes never straying from the apple, and the knight could see the princess in the background, cowering in fear. The creature laughed at the knight's foolishness in relinquishing his weapon and attacked the knight with his fire breath without taking his eyes off the golden apple. The knight raised his fire shield, absorbing the attack, then lunged forward and grabbed the magical sword. In one swift motion, he decapitated the creature. The princess ran to the knight and hugged him, crying tears of relief and happiness. He took the princess back to the castle, where she was reunited with her father. The kingdom rejoiced. The king was so happy that he gave the knight the creature's tower as a reward, along with all the gold the creature had taken. The princess and the knight eventually fell in love and were married. They lived happily together in the tower for many years. A long time later, after the knight had softened with age and ease, the old witch came to the tower and reminded the knight of his promise to perform a quest for her. She told him that he needed to go to the top of the mountain and retrieve a special flower. However, the knight was no longer in any condition to climb a mountain and perform the quest. His fame and fortune had also caused him to lose his humility. The knight refused to perform the quest, telling the witch that he was too old and too important to do so. The witch became angry, casting a spell on the knight that turned him into a creature like the one he had defeated so many years ago. The knight was horrified. He begged the witch to reverse the spell, but she refused. She told him that because of his treachery, he would remain in this form forever. He tried to attack the witch, but she disappeared in a puff of smoke. When the princess saw the creature, she panicked and screamed, assuming the creature had somehow returned and killed her husband. The creature tried to explain, but the princess did not believe him. In his pride and rage, he locked the princess in the treasure room. It was the same room she had been held captive in before. Eventually, word got to the king that the creature had somehow returned, killed the knight, and taken the princess captive. Having learned his lesson from the first creature, the king now had an army of knights at his disposal. He ordered the army to attack the creature and save his daughter. They did so, surrounding the tower and demanding the creature come out and fight. The creature came out, and the knights launched their attack before it could explain the misunderstanding. It was no match for the knights and was quickly killed. The knights then went into the tower and freed the princess. The king was so happy to have his daughter back safe and sound. He offered the knights anything they desired as a reward, but they all refused and went on their way. The moral of the story is that pride comes before a fall, and you should always keep your promises and remember the lessons life has taught you.